This song is the opener to their second album, imaginatively titled Grinderman 2. One reviewer said they missed a trick. They should have called it Grinderman 2 Electric Boogaloo. But hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. You bastard. My name's John. His name's Andy. Hans plays with Lottie. Lottie plays with Jane. Jane plays with Willie. Willie is happy again. Suki plays with Leo. Sasha plays with Britt. Adolf builds a bonfire. Enrico plays with it. More on that later. But first, we have got a track to listen to. And because it's Friday, yes, it is, even though we're recording this on a different day, it really is Friday. We've got a song suggested by one of our wonderful viewers. So as usual, we had a look at it down the list. Had a look this one out while it was still wriggling. And I already have heard this track, so Andy is going to be listening and reaction to it. It's from the band Grinderman. And it's suggested by Glenn. He drops a comment on the episode Tales from the Riverbank by The Jam. Doom, 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 doom. Anyway, and the track is Mickey Mouse and the Goodbye Man.
Okay.
So do you know much? I'm sure we have discussed this, whether we know them or not, but do you know much about Grinderman?
Yeah, I know that. So you and I have talked about this, even when not talking about Grinderman or this episode that we're recording right now. We've talked about Nick Cave and how I sort of became aware of him, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago or whatever, and have sort of like sought out some of his music because I really liked what I heard. And I'm full transparency, Peaky Blinders, that's what got me into his music, put him on my radar. I went and checked out some of his stuff. A lot of it was Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I didn't listen to any Grinderman that I'm aware of. Now, I may or may not have by accident or without me being aware that that's who I was listening to, and perhaps I just thought I was listening to another Bad Seed song. But I know that it's a vehicle that he fronts, and it's something that I am intrigued by because I've liked what I've heard from him and the Bad Seeds. And one more point of intrigue is this hella interesting song title. So we're gonna get. I'm instantly piqued by that. It could have been written by anybody. I'd want to hear it and know what it was about. So that is kind of where I stand on Grinderman. I just know that they exist, and I know that they are fronted by your man Nick Cave. But that's about it.
Cool. Well, this will be super interesting then.
Yeah, awesome. Well, then I guess I have everything I need. I'll go check out Glenn's suggestion. I have faith in it even more knowing it comes from him. He's got good taste in music. So let me step off, check it out, and I will come back and report my findings.
This morning and I thought, what am I doing here? Oh, what am I doing here? I woke up this morning and I thought, what am I doing here? Yeah, what am I doing here? Well, my brother, he starts raging.
Looks like Rick Rubin.
Him rising, see him howling, and he sucked her, and he sucked her, and he sucked her dry. 29th floor. Up on the 29th floor. Oh.
Okay.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm really loving the way this thing kicks off. That nice bass line kind of moves things along. Very simple but very effective hi-hat work by the drummer up until that more explosive portion of the tune right there where he kind of shined a bit more. They all did. It kind of culminated, but the road to get there was a very interesting one because it was like tense and moody. I mean, you've got Nick Cave, who's very performative when he sings. There is a bit of theater to the aspect of the way he sings because he's almost becoming the character or the narrator of the song. He's no longer really Nick Cave. He's whatever character he's singing about, and I love that aspect. I love that, like, you're sort of getting two for the price of one. You're getting great music, but you're also getting this performative aspect of it as well that I find really, really intriguing, especially with songs that have, I don't know what the song's about, but these sort of lascivious topics, sucked or dry and all this, that. It doesn't sound pleasant, let's say, and he's good at putting himself or throwing himself into those roles or those headspaces. Yeah, the guitar work is fabulous because it's not like someone's out here playing the most crisp chord progression you've ever heard or the most beautiful, guitar weeping lead, but there are these effective runs that they do and sounds that they create and this sonic tension that's building and brooding. And again, in a song that's talking about this kind of dark stuff, that's exactly what you want. It's sort of like the great background music in a really intense scene from a horror film. You need it to further add to the moodiness and the anxiety of it all. And I think that that's really, really effective. So yeah, I'm really, really interesting. I'm really interested to see where this goes. I'll also say, again, more about the visuals, but it ties into some of the stuff that we're hearing as well. Is you've got Nick Cave howling into a microphone, and he's got his hair slicked back and spit's flying out of his mouth, and he's got these big bushy eyebrows, and there's almost this lupine quality about him. He seems like this Wolfman type character, and it doesn't help his cause when he's looking feral and spitting all over the microphone and howling into it. And I guess that is another part of the performative thing that I kind of really admire in him. Anytime I hear a Nick Cave song, I have to stop myself and go, have I heard this before? Because he's got such a unique voice and delivery that I know I'm hearing him, and then I just have to decipher if it's something that I've heard before or if it's just another case of Nick caving, So yeah, let's proceed.
Well, I was lying there with just my brother. We could hear someone rattling the locks. I was lying there with just my brother. I said, hey, do you think that it might be the cops?
So good.
And he sucked her, and he sucked her, and he sucked her dry. Yeah, we sucked her, and we sucked her, and we sucked her dry. I was Mickey Mouse. Here was the big bad wolf.
Big bad wolf. I thought it was you the whole time.
Next thing you know, it's looking down below, a lupine child with her hair on fire.
Hold on. You just said a lupine child with her hair on fire or something like that? interesting because I just used that word to describe his visage, and now he's using it to describe whoever the she or her of this song is, who, by the way, sounds like she's in a pretty precarious situation. But yeah, that's happy accident, I suppose. I swear I haven't heard the song before. I'm like 99% sure I haven't. It's funny.
Little birdie girl, looking up at me and running to the elevator, getting in the elevator, sing all seven, all night. Come on, baby, gonna blow my mind. All right. Woke up this morning and he was gone. There were posters in the airports and the station. We took shelter. We took shelter under her body. Under her body. We sucked her, we sucked her, we sucked her dry. And we sucked her, we sucked her, we sucked her dry. And he kissed me and said goodbye. He kissed me and said goodbye.
Nice.
All right. And no time at all, he's walking down the hall. A bat-faced girl with dynamite girl, ringing the doorbell, ringing on the bell. Walking to the elevator, getting in the travelator. 24, 26, 38, 29. Come on, baby, gonna blow your mind. Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, that was some good stuff. Yeah, I love the way the guitars fade in and out. Even their absence, it leaves some tension to be felt, and then when it creeps back in, it only further intensifies. This is like a thriller novel or movie set to music. Wild stuff. As far as subject matter and even the dynamics of the music itself that has been created as the canvas on which to tell this story. Very heavy sounding lyrics. I didn't catch all of them, but the ones I didn't leave me feeling comforted. Interesting name, Mickey Mouse and the Goodbye Man, and really uneasy lyrics and even more unsettling music to kind of bolster them. I am going to need more information from our friend John about this one, because this is so many things in one. This is really interesting stuff. Well, the only way to get my answers and to learn more about Grinderman and how they kind of fit under the Bad Seeds umbrella is to get back to John. So let's do just that.
So you're back
Yes.
from experiencing Grinderman. What are your thoughts?
Well, my initial thought was, oh, this is wonderful. John didn't mention this, but it's like a live studio
I did
performance.
mention that,
Yeah. And from the jump, all signs pointed to that it would be, or would suggest that it would be of good quality, which it was. It didn't have any grainy sort of, and it was just really well shot and put together, and the sound quality was impeccable. And it kicks off with this really, really groovy kind of bass line and simple but effective kind of hi-hat work to help move things along. And there are also these additional, and they change and they're constantly evolving as the song goes through, but they are initially coupled by and would continue to be these really great like guitar lines that sort of launch over the soundscape that's created by the rhythm section. And I really, really enjoyed that. It would be this. We've done songs like in a lot of ways we've covered tracks like this that have similar attributes that have attracted me, and probably countless others, where there are these like really interesting dynamics that are occurring on macro and micro levels within the song. The macro being you have, these two different kinds of like these two motifs, these two parts that sort of make up the song, where it's more restrained in some verses where the song becomes very much more rhythmically driven with guitar kind of splashing and guitar sound splashing across the soundscape like I just alluded to, and then these other portions where the guitar ramps up and it's really driven, and even Cave's voice becomes more forward in the delivery.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I call them parts, and normally I would just defer to terms like verse or chorus, but I don't really. This didn't have any of that. Like this just seemed all verse, but that the soundscape for the verses were one of these two different motifs that I just discussed. So I thought that was kind of cool in and of itself. So that's sort of the macro dynamic like differences in the song. But then there were also these like the dynamics between the rhythm section and the guitars and how they played together at different points was really interesting. And even the dynamics of his vocal delivery, which I kind of mentioned earlier, shifted throughout the song, and I really enjoyed that. So I love how the song was written and assembled and kind of like flew in the face of like basic songwriting 101 as far as verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, or something to that effect. You know what I mean? So as the song progresses, we get the first verse, and this is almost sounding familiar to me at this point. And I think it's just because anytime, I don't think I've heard this song, and still I'm not 100% certain, but I'm like 90. But I think it's anytime I hear his voice, it's just so unique that it reminds me of every other time I've heard it. Not, not that I'm even familiar with the song. It's just I'm so familiar with his sort of unique approach that when I hear it, it just takes me back to every other time I've heard some of his stuff. So the song tinkers with dynamics, like I mentioned, for the first minute plus. And it's all done around that initial bass line that introduces the tune. And those dynamics begin to ebb as Cave growls something about the 29th floor before howling into the microphone, just as the music escalates and kicks off. But again, that flow of sound becomes restrained, and it falls back into that sort of tense rhythmic portion with the bass and the hi-hat. So here we are. It's all kind of playing out before me, with all the dynamics. And I've got to say, at one point I stopped and I said, it's interesting. Like he's howling. He has this lupine kind of look to him anyway, with this like the longer sort of slick back black hair and these huge caterpillar eyebrows. It almost looks like the earliest stage of transforming into a werewolf, this whole facade he has going on here. So it kind of made me laugh. And then like right after I stopped it to recognize that, he mentioned something about a lupine look in his lyrics, or at least I thought I caught that. And he's howling. So all of a sudden I'm just thinking wolves the whole time. Then I stopped the damn thing at the end and I see that there's a wolf emoji in the title of the track that whoever like uploaded it. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. I did all coincidence. I had never heard this song. At least I'm pretty sure I haven't. But I was getting these vibes that I guess he was intentionally putting off with all this allusions to wolves and things like that. And there is this brooding nature to the song, like especially oddly, to the softer part. There's more unease and tension to the part where the music falls back a little bit and the rhythm steps forward. Than there are with a more bombastic sort of cacophony of sound. It's almost like the slow lurch to then throttle you is sort of how the music moves, and it's kind of uneasy, but that doesn't really surprise me with him because a lot of his music has that quality to it. And I think his baritone voice is catered for this kind of weird, eerie messaging as well. So yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Around the 204 mark, the guitar adds this purring like sound that stretches across the song, almost like a cat on a warm spot of the carpet when the sun cascades through the window pane. And just after Cave's pondering about whether it might be the cops, which again, I'm only catching weird portions of these lyrics, and it's only adding to the unease that the music provides out of the gate. So they're again, the dynamics between the lyrics and the mood that the music creates is an interesting one as well. And you get, so after he says something about, you know, whether it might be the cops, there's this sound akin to, but not anywhere near as abrasive as like fingers on a chalkboard. And to be clear, it sounds great, but it is just as unnerving as fingernails on a chalkboard. And the guitar is doing the guitar is doing a lot in the way of adding mood and tension to the song. And again, it's toying with dynamics, and it's helping, and all of that is helping the song just excel. And we get more howling from Cave's Big Bad Wolf. And the song again becomes fuller with this driving guitars and drum, and there's even group singing at this point where there's another vocalist that's joined him. And again, the music falls back to just the bass and the drums. But again, the guitar is doing so much in offering these amazing brushstrokes over the canvas of the rhythm section. And in this case, it sounded almost like a CB or like a transistor radio being turned, like the sounds that the guitars were creating. And I really, really liked that. So yeah, after this, the song enters one more of those climactic phases with the whole band kicking off, and Cage is full bore into his like lupine vocal styles where he's howling and making all these sounds, and Jesus Christ, he's really baptizing that microphone. I mean, that thing was damp by the end of that song. There was so much spit flying all over that thing. But I really enjoyed the dynamics of the guitar in the rhythm section, as well as I mentioned before, the dynamics between the main motif, those two main musical motifs of the song. And it was there were these portions that were like subdued but brooding. And then there were these loud bombastic portions that somehow manage to commingle so well together. I really, really enjoyed this tune. I knew I probably would, given that it's coming from Nick Cave. I always have to stop myself in the middle of saying that because my Yankee ass is about to say Nick Cage every goddamn time. But it's Nick Cave. I think I may have even done it in the video and caught myself halfway through. But yeah, this was a great listen, great performance. And that added to the fun of it all as well, watching him kind of emote. And there is a certain, I know you're not gonna like me saying this, but there's a certain amount of theater to his persona when he's in front of a microphone. He purrs and growls and gets into the song. This isn't just a straight singing of a song. This is a performance, and it's performative. And that adds to what I think is the weird narrative behind this. But I need you to help me understand what this is about, because with a title like that, one reference to Mickey Mouse, a lot of references to wolves, and nothing about a goodbye man from what I caught. So help me out, please.
Okay, just so I don't forget that bit, talking about the performance. Yeah, you're right, but it is character-based performance. It's not jazz hands and let's do the show right here.
Yeah.
The character that he's living through and his performance. And you're totally right. You know, and he's gone from, you know, sinister serial killer to sinister preacher to sinister person waiting at a bus stop. You know, there's a common thread. So yeah. Yeah, I think this is a great song as well, and I'll get into a bit about that. So I'll just go through, as people hopefully are aware, Nick Cave, the Bad Seeds, prior to that, the Birthday Party, Grinderman. So Grinderman came about in London in 2006. The band is Nick Cave, vocals, guitar, organ, piano, Warren Ellis, guitar, mandolin. This is from the album, not this track. Bouzouki, violin, viola, guitar, backing vocals. Martin PKC, bass, acoustic guitar, backing vocals. And Jim Sklavinus on drums, percussion, and backing vocals. So this is, as you said, a side project to Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And it was originally going to be called the Mini Seeds. And it was formed by Nick Cave as a way to escape the weight of the Bad Seeds. So the band's name is inspired by Memphis Slim song, Grinderman Blues. And apparently Grinderman was a thing. And it's not what you're thinking. It was these old sort of hobo-y type blokes who sat on a crate or a box and they played fairly mediocre blues really loud until people paid them enough money to move on. And they used to sit apparently underneath apartment blocks and keep people awake and stuff until people threw enough money at them to move on. That's what I read. Don't know how true it is. But apparently that's Memphis. I mean, you're lucky you don't get like, shot or a knife or whatever.
I know.
But anyway, yeah. So apparently he was singing this song during one of the band's early rehearsals and sessions, and it kind of stuck. So their first album, Grinderman, was released in 2007. Really positive reviews, and this song is the opener to their second album, imaginatively titled Grinderman 2. One reviewer said they missed a trick. They should have called it Grinderman 2 Electric Boogaloo. But,
of course, whenever there's a sequel, it's got to have Electric Boogaloo at the end of it.
Yeah. So this was released in 2010 to similar acclaim. The band split up in 2011 in order to focus on the Bad Seeds' next upcoming album, their 14th, Dig Lazarus Did, that one there. And the drummer said, I can't predict what the future of Grindman is, if there is a future. The band did actually reform a couple of times to perform live in 2013. And in 2019, while answering a fan on his Red Hand Files forum, Nick Cave hinted that a third album in a yet-to-be completed trilogy was in the works. But I mean, that was 5 years ago. So, no rush. So Grinderman 2, the album, I've got a bit of a blurb on it here. So it did get really good reviews. It got a Metacritic score of 83, which is pretty high.
Mhm.
Got some quotes here. AllMusic said that it was more polished and studied affair than its predecessor, more sonically adventurous, while still being a white-hot rock and roll record. And BBC Music said that Grinderman 2 had a sound influenced as much by 60s garage punk and droning krautrock as the blues. I would tend to agree that I've found the second album slightly more cohesive and coherent and focused, and as such the songs stand up better. There was this kind of outburst of first Grinderman. It was, this sounds fucking awesome, and it's ballsy. But actually, I think Grinderman 2 is definitely the better album. I believe this performance, I'm not 100% sure, but was from the RAK sessions that were filmed and recorded live in September at the legendary RAK studios in North London. And it was streamed on Bad Seed TV, which is a streaming service from the band, and it's probably 2011. I'm not 100% sure, but that's where I reckon this one came from. So I will go through the lyrics and then a bit about what the hell it may mean. Woke up this morning and I thought, what am I doing here? Yeah, what am I doing here? I woke up this morning and I thought, what am I doing here? Yeah, what am I doing here? Whoa. Well, my brother, he starts raging. I see him rising. I see him howling. And he sucked her and he sucked her and he sucked her dry. And he bit at me and he bit at me and said goodbye. Up on the 29th floor, up on the 29th floor. Oh, all right. Well, I was lying there with just my brother. We could hear someone rattling the locks. I was lying there with just my brother. I said, hey, do you think it might be the cops? And he sucked her and he sucked her and he sucked her dry. Yeah, we sucked her and we sucked her and we sucked her dry. I was Mickey Mouse. He was the big bad wolf. Next thing you know, I'm looking down below. See a lupine child with her hair on fire. Little burning girl looking up at me. Running to the elevator. Getting in the travelator. 6th floor, 7th floor, 8th floor, 9. Come on, baby, you're going to blow my mind. Oh, all right. Woke up this morning and he was gone. There were posters in the airports and the stations. We took shelter under her body. We sucked her and we sucked her and we sucked her dry and we sucked her and we sucked her and we sucked her dry. And he kissed me and said goodbye. He kissed me and said goodbye. All right. Well, no time at all. She's walking down the hall, a bat-faced girl with dynamite curls, ringing the daughter. I think that's what it said there. Ringing on the bell, walking to the elevator, getting in the travelator. 24, 26, 28, 29. Come on, baby, gonna blow your mind. Oh, all right, come on. There you go. So here's a little bit of blurb about this. Opening track, Mickey Mouse and the Goodbye Man, is a story of two sibling psychopaths and their nameless prisoner. Out of the two, Cave is the lesser of the two evils, apparently. And the song begins where Cave gets up one day exclaiming, I woke up this morning and I thought, what am I doing here? Helpless to stop and control his brother's mounting anger. The catastrophic situation escalates as his brother rage begins to spill over onto the hostage. And Cave can only look on as his brother starts raging, helplessly watching him rising and howling. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, this goes on for a bit. And he ends up saying, it's another Grinderman corker. Now, this other guy wrote another very shorter bit saying, squealing guitar distortion and clips of dissonant strings build the music up and bring the mental image to an ugly low. What it means to suck someone dry is left to the imagination. There can't be anything good if the police are snooping around the front door. It's a tense, desperate situation that comes to an ugly climax. In a high school poetry competition, this stuff might warrant a few parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah, no shit.
On the Nick Cave album, it's an artistic triumph. And then we actually got a quote from Nick Cave himself saying, the song is about the kind of origins of extremism, terrorism, of envy and isolation. Mickey Mouse represents the weaker, feminine, comic side of us, and the big bad wolf is the masculine side. That's a quote from him. I don't know if he really means that or not.
Yeah.
Because they're both fucking up. It kind of puts me in mind of this artwork that I saw years ago. And I don't know if this is a false memory or not, but there was an artwork, it was like an installation, as I remember it. And I've only ever seen drawings of it since. And it was called Memorial to the 20th Century. And it was Mickey Mouse on a machine gun turret. And it was like in the middle with this stuff around them. And there were bits of all that. I just think of this violence with this cartoon character. It's like, it was one of the most perfect things I ever saw. And again, with this, it alludes to it. You know, Mickey Mouse. In this country, when you say something's a bit Mickey Mouse, it means it's a bit sort of crappy and half-hearted. Yeah. You know, he's just got himself a Mickey Mouse car or whatever. It means it's a bit shit. But he's still participating in this horror show.
Yeah.
So, I
mean, to be able to tackle this kind of subject matter is like a tall order, and he seems to do it no matter the song, because he's done this kind of stuff multiple times really, really well.
Yeah. But are you familiar with his last two albums?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, cool. All right, then. Well, I will get to thinking on that and get something down the old pipeline, as it were. This was excellent shout by Glenn. And I think I'll wrap things up. So thanks, Glenn.
Yeah,
thanks for listening to Sandy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's
great show.
It's a rip snorter and essential bedtime listening, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't have nightmares.
As long as you don't live on the 29th floor.
Yeah. Or indeed the 24th, 25th, 26th, etc., etc. That's the thing. I just sort of circle back before I do eventually wrap up. Is that I think the development of Nick Cave from like the the bloody mess that was the birthday party, and it has got some, you know, qualities to it, but it's not really my thing. Through the bad seeds to where he is now is quite a journey and he is truly an artist now, with all the other stuff he does as well. And it's really interesting to see the intellectualizing of some of his threads, and the shit that's happened to him as well. There's no getting away from that. Has changed him and made him a very, very interesting and rewarding artist, I think. And the lyrics in this just sort of show that. I mean, you can read, there's lots of, at no point in any of the reviews has anyone mentioned wolves, but you picked up on that, you know, which is good. You've seen it, and that's, you know, but there's all the other bits in there about, you know, which people can pick up all sorts of different shit on. And I think that's just shows the richness of the imagery.
Yes. He's quite the storyteller
out there. Yeah, definitely. Although it's always done by flickering candlelight.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, I was probably inside an empty skull as well. Brilliant. Yeah, I will wrap this up. Folks out there, tell us what you think. Must be some people that are familiar with Grinderman. What do you reckon? It's a nice sort of sidetrack to Bad Seed stuff, which did take a turn in a very different sort of path, following certain things. This has got a kind of a feel of release about it, like it's just really kicking out. But yeah, drop some comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Hit the like button if you like this. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Turn around, touch your toes, etc., etc. And that being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we will see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.